So I have some amazing news, man. I finally reached the muscle mass goal. And it's like, for the longest time, honestly, like I tried to reach this point, and for the longest time, it's been like, it was pretty hard, honestly. And it's because I was probably doing a lot of things not the correct way, you know. And like, because of that, it pretty much took a lot longer. But now that I'm here, I'm like so glad that I'm here. You know. So, just for some background, like knowledge, I guess, some context. Is that for the longest time, my goal was to always kind of reach, 150, 150 pounds, 155. You know what I mean? I'm like pretty much there. I'm like at 150 pretty much, right? Maybe just need to increase a little bit more. Like that's pretty much it. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people, you know what I mean? Like we have these goals and it's like, now that I've reached it, now what? Right? Like what's next? Right? And honestly, bro, like now that I've reached this goal, it's like I think the next thing to do is a lot of people will say, "Oh, you should double down and increase on your training." But I think I'm probably gonna like I'm not gonna say like I'm gonna stop training, but I'm gonna at least with like the fitness training, the muscle building training. Like I probably won't do it as intensely because like before, man, I was like you know man, I was like training so hard for me. And like really like observing my diet, and I mean I still do that, like I'll never eat slop. I mean, inshallah, I'll never eat slop. I'll never go back to eating slop ever again. You guys know that I quit junk food like back in 2024. Like this shouldn't be news, right? I'll still stay on that, but I'm not gonna like you know observe each microgram that I'm like, okay, let me weigh it out like one of these autistic bodybuilders. That's not what I'm gonna do. But what I will do is I won't have to like over observe what I'm eating because now I'm pretty much walking at that weight that I've always wanted to be at. Right. Like yeah. I think now like I'm pretty much gonna like instead of because before I was training like 3 to 4 times intensely, um, like the actual working out days. And then I was doing like active recovery in between where I would just work out my abs. Right. This is actually a side point. And I'll probably make another video. Speaking of that is a really good idea. Another video on how you can still like look lean and your abs can still pop while you're still bulking. Because funny enough, even though I bulked up like pretty much 10 pounds, I would say my abs and I actually look pretty much leaner than I was when I was lower in weight, which is actually the craziest thing. Because a lot of people will lose their like you notice this the bodybuilding crowd talks about calories in, calories out. I basically figure out a glitch, right? A glitch in the matrix, right? I pretty much figure out that it's actually very much possible to look leaner while bulking, right? And again, if you want to know that full thing, right, you can join the program below, Biohacking for MMA, right? I would do go over that in that, right? And then, you can join the Patreon as well. I keep that updated as well, right? Where you can basically ask me direct questions and stuff like that. But I'll probably come out with a video on this channel as well, talking about like how I kind of did it. Right, so stay tuned for that. Right, and yeah, I mean, yeah, I pretty much look leaner than I was when I was, lighter in weight, pretty much. Right, like you would assume that, oh, like when you're lighter, you look leaner, but actually, it was pretty much the opposite for me. Right, and yeah, I mean, honestly, like what I noticed with again, I'll probably talk about like in another video about how I pretty much got here, like the process for that, so that you guys can kind of like understand how I did it and kind of replicate to an extent of what I did, right? If your goal is to build muscle mass. Luckily, I'm not at that goal anymore. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna say I'll never increase muscle mass. Okay, I'll probably increase about like a couple more pounds, maybe like I said, 155, right? Like that should be good enough for me. I think now my goal is to like honestly just hone in way more on um stretching, flexibility, and athleticism, and like overall like actual martial arts training. Right? Right. Because once you get to this point, you honestly like don't need to overtrain. in like the fitness gym and like lifting massive amounts of weights. You don't necessarily need to do that, honestly. Like, like you just need to do that like twice a week. And that's pretty much what I'm gonna do. I just set up a new routine for myself, and I'm honestly super excited to test it out this week. Inshallah, like it'll go good. Right? But it's basically like my routine in that is just gonna be like athletic maxing. I think I might have made a video on that as well. Athletic maxing for MMA. Wait, but I did make a couple more videos you can check out. Power maxing for MMA, speed maxing for MMA, and you can kind of like take that once you get to this point. Wait, but yeah, I mean, pretty much I'm gonna be athletic maxing. Wait, if I haven't created a video on that already, I'm pretty sure I did. But if not, then I will create a video. Wait, but yeah, I mean, now it's like, man, well, now what, right? This is like I've always wanted to be here. Like it's like when you achieve a goal, like a lot of people just like kind of like lose it. Like they kind of like just stop completely. And it's like I'm not gonna obviously stop, but it's like now it's like I can kind of chill a little bit. Like, 'cause man, I was training so hard. You know what I mean? It's like it took so many months and years to get to this point. And I'm like really glad that I got to this point. It's like a lot. I mean, I made a lot of mistakes too because, but I think because of those mistakes, it kind of made me kind of really like obsess and like really look into like training and like basically become like in a way like pretty much an expert doing this and how to actually do this. Like now you guys can learn and like not have to go through that struggle of like building mass. And I'll basically make a video on how I did that. I'm just gonna mention some general things in this video. I won't go into too much detail, but basically obviously working well, actually I wouldn't even put that on top. I would put like diet. You know what I mean? Like what you're eating on top. Then I'd put sleep and then I'd put like working out, honestly. Like if I had to like rank it, so diet would be like up here, right? Then I would put sleep. Then I would put like the actual lifting that you do in the gym. And a lot of people will say like, oh, you can't like, oh, like you shouldn't lift too much. It like isn't good for you. These are like old school rumors. Wow. Hopefully you're not like dumb enough to believe this shit, right? Anyone that still believes that, you must be living in like the '60s if you believe that shit. Right. You must be living in an era before Bruce Lee. Even, I mean, this is the amazing thing about Bruce Lee. Even he didn't believe in that shit. He knew that shit was a setup, right? Right. It's kind of like when the doctors tell you, "Oh, don't go out in the sun; it will give you cancer." You know it's bullshit. This is the same exact thing. Where all these like old school, like the only way like this would be possible is if you take steroids and you gain like I don't know, like 50 pounds of muscle. Like maybe then yeah, you probably might get slow. But even then, it's like I'll tell you to you straight up. I pretty much became a way better martial artist as I got more jacked. And everyone will pretty much tell you the same exact experience, right? Yeah, like wait, everyone will tell you the same exact thing. Yeah, you become a better martial artist when you become more jacked and when you pretty much increase your muscle mass and weight. Who I'm doing, right? But yeah, I mean, I gotta destroy this rumor. While some people might still believe in it, right? But honestly, bro, it's like yeah, I mean, I'm so glad that I got here. And it's like, just for some context, I guess I can give you like some, like, so basically when I was in like high school and whatnot, I was like around like, I was like really like, honestly, I was like maybe like, yeah, I was like pretty much 115, even got me below that. Then I slowly increased to like 120 to 125. Then I got to like 135, and I was stuck at 135 for like a very long time. Then I got to 145, right? And I was kind of stuck at that, but I would always kind of dip down to 135, right? And then, yeah, I was like stuck in this 135, 145 range for a very long time. And then I actually did get to 150, believe it or not, before this, right? But then, you know, I ended up getting a little sick, right? And then I lost it. You know what's crazy is I got to 150, and then I lost it. I went because of how sick I got. I ended up getting back to 135. In fact, I even got to a point where like I got to 133. Like that's how bad it was. Like that's how bad, like sick I got. Like, it was just like some digestive problems. Like, and now after fixing that, now I'm at like 150. Right now I'm back. Like like I got to that point that I dropped because I got sick, and then I got back. Right. Honestly, yeah, it's been an amazing journey. It's been such a such a struggle. Like here, a literal form of jihad. Like, and just for some context, jihad just means struggle. Like, don't believe the news, the media when they say jihad actually means holy. No, it just means struggle. Like in Arabic. Right? But yeah, I mean, man, this was such a grueling process. Yeah, it's like you can tell it from my face that I'm like super happy to be here now. Right? I've reached this goal, and because basically my goal, I remember even like back in high school, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get to 150. I'm gonna get to 150, and then, now I'm here. Right? Unfortunately, it took longer than it needed to because again, I made a lot of mistakes. You know what I mean? But I think because of those mistakes, I learned a lot. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, I got here. You know what I mean? That's like more important than like anything. And I remember like back then, I was telling myself, oh, once I get to this weight, I'm just gonna athletic max. That was like I'll like make my training, like my fitness training, more so geared towards like actual MMA training rather than like just muscle building. Right? Like I remember telling myself that for the longest time, and now I'm here, and now I can actually do that, and I'm gonna be starting that pretty much this week. Honestly, man, like I'm super excited for that shit. So excited to like finally, like for the longest time, I've always wanted to do these like explosive exercises, but I just couldn't because I knew like it wouldn't necessarily correlate per se to me building muscle mass, right? Like not 100%. I'm not going to say like you can't build muscle mass with that, but if the goal is to gain as much like muscle mass as I was trying to, then it wouldn't necessarily be the most effective way to go about it, right? Now I'm like here, and now it's like I'm just gonna like now I'm gonna optimize for actual like combat. You know what I mean? Athleticism, right? Athleticism, flexibility. Now these are my two next goals for here. Now that I've gone to this like muscle mass like endeavor, right? Right. And I'm like so glad that like I got here because it's kind of like a dream come true type of moment, honestly. And it's like yeah, it's like I finally got here. Really. Super glad that I got here. Yeah, yeah. It's like, like man, I just be pondering upon like how much of a struggle it's been. It's like, yeah, like I finally got here. Finally got here. I achieved the goal that I set. You know what I mean? I actually finally did something, right? And a lot of you here, you probably have similar goals where it's like, maybe it's like you're still trying to get there, and it's like for like it takes because of how much of a struggle it was. And again, you're gonna make mistakes on the way. Granted, I mean, you're probably watching my videos or you're watching my content. You join my program, you'll make less of those mistakes. Maybe even none of them. Right? It's also possible. Right? I won't say you'll make no mistakes, right? Because we are human at the end of the day, but you'll make less of them, right? Especially like unnecessary mistakes. That's more so, uh, you know, the goal to eliminate. Because there are some necessary mistakes maybe we need to make in order to get better, right? But we want to avoid the unnecessary mistakes. And yeah, now that I'm here, it's like, well, like, yeah, that's pretty much my next goals were, you know, pretty much upcoming, right? Focusing on athleticism, focusing on flexibility, like I said, 'cause I still want to make that goal of being able to do the splits, right? I have been kind of delaying on it because, after you work out, it's kind of like, huh? Right. Like I was like always debating this thing like should I stretch? Even though like that's pretty much the best time to stretch. But stretching does take a good amount of time and it's like you kind of miss your protein intake window and you kind of miss your carb intake window during that time, which is like a bit more optimal. So I was like, that's why I wouldn't stretch right after working out because I was like, oh, I need to hit my protein intake. I need to hit my carb intake. And, you know what I mean? Again, due to my own, I will admit this, due to my own like laziness, I would not like stretch 2 hours after eating, even though I should have done that, right? But yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean now I can like pretty much stretch right after working out. And it's not like the end of the world for me because again, I'm only like I mean that's more of my focus nowadays is like gonna be like flexibility and athleticism, right? So I can like pretty much stretch every day, right? Since I'm not gonna be working out like every day, right? I'm gonna be stretching every day, inshallah, and yeah, I'm gonna be focusing on athleticism. Like that's gonna be my new goal to take. And you know what I mean? You know what's actually crazy is you know, after gaining this muscle mass, like, you know, in your head, you kind of don't think that you've changed. You know what I mean? You don't think that you look more jacked. But it's like funny because I was like talking to some guy, and like this guy, you know, kind of low key obese. Like, I won't say anything bad about him, but like, I mean, we were just talking, right? And like, he just asked, like, do you work out? And I was like, yeah, look, I tend to work out. I didn't mention anything about working out or MMA or anything that I do. And he said like, you know what? Yeah, you look like it. I mean, your chest is pretty big, shoulders too. I mean, I can tell you do. It's like after hearing that shit, I was like, so I do look more jacked. I mean, and it's like, of course, like I gained like a good amount of like muscle mass, of course, right? It was like even like average people, like that are out there, can even see it and tell that yeah, like you put in a lot of work to get here, right? Like even the average civilian population will tell you that, right? They see the results even more than you do, right? And it made me think like how many of these other people like pretty much see that, right? They just may not say it, I guess, right? And it's like, damn, like we got here, right? Like we landed on the moon, we landed on the sun, right? We did the impossible. We landed on the sun, right? Yeah, but I'm like so glad I got here. It's like get what I mean? And like that's honestly kind of like what I want for you guys. I mean, reach your goals, right? Especially with like martial arts and whatnot. Because like, so you don't have, I mean, you can get them to get here faster, right? You can get here faster, right? Honestly, if you just join my program, my hacking from me, it'd be so easy for you to do. And if you join the Patreon, like it would be a million times easier for you, right? I didn't have that type of stuff. It's probably low key also something I probably should have done is like investing. But back then, honestly, nutritional advice was just such like ass, pretty much. Like you would have like these people that were just calories in, calories out. And like I did that approach and I did not get results. That was also another thing. I did that approach. I did the calories in, calories out, just looking at that. Now looking at the ingredients, now looking at yes, the micros. Some people only obsess over the macros. Like, right. They'll look at some form of slop and they'll be like, oh yeah, that is the same as eating like something whole foods that's organic and natural. Like they'll look at a slop drink, C4, where it has the same calories as like maybe let's say an apple or something. Right? They'll think these two are the same. That's why like honestly this is what I hate about the bodybuilding space. It's like it used like in back in like Mike Menser's era, it used to be like, oh yeah, like it used to be like, oh yeah, we're gonna like eat like because pretty much they ate in that era, like the golden ages of bodybuilding is steak and eggs. It was that simple. Maybe like some occasional like other stuff, but like it was whole foods. And it's like, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a side note though. But like, I'm honestly glad that I got here, despite fighting all this propaganda. Because in any field you go into, there's propaganda. Whether it's martial arts with like I don't know, like jiu-jitsu training or muscles will slow down your martial arts. Yeah, okay. Okay, okay, yeah, okay. It's funny because every martial artist that's actually good is actually in shape and is jacked. Amazing, right? Right, amazing. Who would have thought? Right. But now I can like so glad I don't have to focus on like I can actually focus on other things in life. Like besides just the muscle mass building. Ah, glad to be here, man. And if you want to get to this point, man, you know, again I did have a video of muscle maxing for MMA. You can definitely check that out. Definitely recommend you checking that out. You can join the biohacking program for MMA, like I said. It will help you a ton. You know what I mean? It'll help you a ton. Right? Without making any mistakes that I had to make. Right? And like just reinventing the wheel and like discovering fire. Right? Without going through that grueling process, you guys can like get the results that you want. Right? And like I said, always like subscribe to this channel if you got this far. You know what I mean? You learned about my journey. Right? Now you know. Right? Subscribe to this channel. Right? Hit that bell notification. And I shall leave you in the echoes of excellence. Until next time. Until greatness meets again.